Hello everyone, War here, and welcome to my league starter build for the upcoming Blight League. This build is really good to start out the league with. It's a very cheap to make, doesn't require any specific unique items, and it's overall a really fun to play. I'm gonna start by going over my passive skill tree, then the item recommendation, and then I'm going to go over the skill games you need. If you have any questions whatsoever about the build, feel free to ask me in the comments. So let's get started. For my skill tree, starting as a witch. Then I went for spell damage, cast speed, after that Arcanist Dominion, Firewalker, Heart and Soul, Deep Wisdom, Arcane Will, because Incinerate is a quite mana hungry skill, so you're going to need quite a bit of mana to sustain your skill. I also have Blast Radius to increase the AoE of my Incinerate and the damage of it. Moving up here you are going to have a use of it. And for your use, you want cast speed, increased maximum life, and spell damage or fire damage. Is what you want for your use. Moving on, I have a Golem Commando, one of the new notes. And this one increases the buff of your golems, increases the maximum life of your golems, and increases the maximum number of your golems. And you're going to be an elementalist, so you're going to be able to have 3 golems at the same time, which is quite awesome. So I really like this new note here. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this one when I go over my Ascendancy skill tree. Moving on, I have Deep Thoughts, again I need some mana. I have Cruel Perception for some life and some resistance. And I have the big fire wheel here, which is Heart of Flame to give me fire penetration and a nice chunk of fire damage. And Breath of Flames to give me some multiplier for my fire damage over time, increases my fire damage and ignite duration, and also give me a good amount of chance to ignite enemies. You're pretty much going to have 100% chance to ignite enemies with this build. Moving on, I went this way here. I went for quick recovery. Again, I need some mana regeneration, life regeneration, and some extra increased maximum life. This is quite nice. I have elemental overload in this build, which means that when I do a critical strike, I don't do extra damage from the crit, but when I crit, I get 40% more elemental damage in 8 seconds. So every time you crit, you get a huge boost to your damage. I also have Mental Rapidity to increase my cast speed and some mana regeneration. I have the whole dual wheel spell wheel here, which is Dark Art. I just love these notes here, give you such a huge amount of cast speed. And you're going to be dual wielding in this build. I have Explosive Impact, and when you take an Explosive Impact, don't take this one here. This one just gives you 10% fire damage and some fire spell conversion. Take this one here, which gives you cast speed and a little bit less fire damage, but cast speed is always nice. I have Purity of Flesh, and after that I took Serenity. Serenity allows me to run 3 auras at the same time, and I'm gonna go over my auras when I talk about my skill games later. And later I took Holy Fire, which is one of the new and improved notes, and I really like this note now. They give you fire damage over time, and you're going to do a lot of damage with ignites as well, so that's quite nice. And also give you fire damage and chance to ignite. Moving on, I went down here and took Singular Focus, gave me some additional physical damage protection when channeling, increases my cast speed and increases my damage. Overall a really nice note. I went for Amplifying, again increased the AoE and damage of my Incinerate. Then I went for Light of Divinity, I went for Holy Dominion, and I went for Devotion, a good life note which increases your strength and your life and increases the effect of your non-cursed auras from your skill, which is quite nice. Also I have Retribution to increase my damage and cast speed and also give me some strength and intelligence. I have Discipline and Training, Century. I also have the starting notes from the life area of the Templar area to increases my mana regeneration and life regeneration and even increase my life and mana. Moving down here I have Combat Stamina to increase my armor, which is quite important, and increases my maximum life and life regeneration. Here again I have another Yule Socket here. When it comes to Yule Socket, again you want life, that's the most important thing, and you want either spell damage, cast speed, or fire damage, or a combination of that on your Yule. And I have the big life wheel here. So that's pretty much my passive skill tree. let's go over my Ascendancy skill tree. And by the way, before I forget it, I'm going to have a link in the description to where you can find this skill tree. For my Ascendancy tree, I ascended as an Elementalist, and the first thing you're going to take when you ascend, it is a program of Calamity. It allows 0.5% of your element damage to be leached as life, which is quite nice. For each element you have been hit by, damage of that recently, you get 4% increased damage of that element. So if you're getting hit by, for example, a fireball or something, you're getting 40% increased fire damage. And also for each element you're getting hit by, you're taking reduced damage from that element for 8 seconds, which is quite nice. And the most fun thing of all, you can take elemental reflected damage. You can do whatever reflect map you want. You take no reflect damage whatsoever. You can attack reflect at 0 if you want to. You take no damage in reflect. And then I recommend taking Pendulum Destruction, which either give you a gigantic boost to your AoE or a gigantic boost to your elemental damage, which is just fantastic. And then you're going to take Mastermind of Discord, which increases your penetration when you have your Herald. You're going to using a Herald of Ash. And also increases the effect of your Heralds on you, and it reduces the mana reservation of your Herald. Overall, a fantastic note. And last but not least, you're going to take Line of Primordial. You remember I talked about Golem Commando before? This one is for the golems. It increases the number of golems you can have. So if you take this node up here, Golem Commander, you're going to be able to have 2 golems. And when you're taking this node down here, in the Ascendancy tree, you're going to be able to have 3 golems. And you're getting 20% increased damage per golem summoned. And this one also increases the buff the golems grant you per summoned golems, which is quite nice. And also makes your golems immune to elemental damage, so it makes them much more tanky. Overall, a fantastic note, and I always recommend having all of your 3 golems out at the same time. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about the golems when I come to the skill games. But this note here and this note up here, which are the ones that allows you to have more than 1 golems, and you're going to be able to have 3 of them if you are taking those 2 notes. So I hope I was clear, and if you have any questions about my skill tree, please let me know. So let's talk about skill gems. I can start by talking about my main damage skill, which is of course Incinerate. And Incinerate are supported by Combustion, Controlled Destruction, Infused Channeling, Fire Penetration, and Immolate. If you only have a 5 linked armor, just take away Combustion and use the others, so you can get your 6 linked armor. For my Aura and Herald skills, I am using Anger, Clarity, and Herald of Ash. I'm using a 4 linked Fireball setup to poke enemies from afar and to trigger my Elemental Overload when I crit with it. And Fireball is supported by Combustion, Efficiency, and Ignite Perfilation. For your golems, you're going to use Summon Lightning Golem, Summon Flame Golem, Summon Chaos Golem. And you're going to link all of those 3 with minion life. The goal is not to have your golems do a lot of damage. The goal is to have them to be as tanky as possible, because they're giving you a ton of damage when you're using them. And you're not going to be able to summon all 3 of them at once. You're going to first be able to summon 1, then when you take Commander of Golems in the skill tree, you will be able to summon 2. And when you take Liner Primordial in the Ascendancy tree, you will be able to summon 3 of them. For my movement skill, I'm using Lightning Warp, together with faster casting and less duration. The last skill gems I'm using a Orb of Storm setup. I'm using Orb of Storms together with increased critical strikes, so I can crit enemies more often and get my Elemental Overload to proc. And I'm also using it together with Curse on Hit and Flammability to curse enemies that are hit by Orb of Storms with Flammability, which is lowering their resistance to fire. Let's talk about the weapons and items. Let's start by talking about weapons. For your weapons, you want spell damage and cast speed. And also added fire damage to spells is very helpful as well. For your helmet and gloves, you mainly want life and resistance. Also good armor values is also really welcome. And on your helmet you can get an enchantment that increases your damage of your Incinerate a lot. But those helmets tend to be quite expensive. For the chest armor, you want life and resistance. And a really good unique armor for this build is Carcass Jack. It gives you a good boost to both your AoE damage and your AoE. For your boots, you want life and resistance and movement speed. And for your rings, you want life and resistance. And also either fire damage or cast speed, or both if you can afford it. It's a quite nice addition on rings. For your amulet, get life and the resistance you need. And also try to get some cast speed and spell damage if you can afford it. For the flasks, always carry at least one anti-bleeding flask, and an anti-freeze flask is actually a good addition as well. I personally like to run 2 life flasks and 1 quicksilver flask, but that's just my personal preference. The unique flasks you can see on screen right now, they're not mandatory, but they are a good addition to a build, like Netzir's Promise for some good damage, Rumi's Concoction for some armor and block chance, and Dying Sun for some nice AoE, but can also be expensive. And for the Bandit Quest Act 2, just kill all of them and take the 2 passive skill points. I thank you all of you for watching this video, and tell me what you think about the build and the build guide, and also I wish all of you good luck in the new league.